What's goody to any and everybody who may be listening? Okay, we'll be talking about po' boy on today, and I'm gonna name this shrimp po' boy after the sandwich, the po' boy a sandwich, but it's so befitting because of that little meat he got. And the only reason I know is because of the many instances I've seen the bitch naked around the house. Okay, with that little shriveled up shrimp dingaling. So let's get into po' boy. Let's get into the dramatics. Let's get into the domestic violence, which was rare. Like, he rarely put his hands on Sharita. He also put his hands on me. He also put his hands on Danielle when he threw that phone at her up in that trailer. But we're going to get to all that. We are going to be getting into all of that in this episode, okay? I'm going to try to start in chronological order, just to be sure I get this all down and call every single bit of my energy like sparks and soul fragments back, darling. Okay, so let's get started. In terms of po' boy, Sharita met this individual while we were living in the neighborhood of Cinnamon Ridge. And Cinnamon Ridge is one of those neighborhoods, very eventful. I'm going to be getting into a lot of Cinnamon Ridge in the future, okay? But this individual also lied to Sharita and said his name was Sean out the gate, okay? Out of the blue, I did not like, quote, Sean. Okay, his energy was off. He stayed with an attitude. And just like you could feel it, he liked to spread that negative energy. It steamed off his body and things of this nature. So, okay. Now, let's head into the first instance. Now, this might be minor, but I did bookmark this day. There was something about this day that was charged enough with emotions that I bookmarked it and I remembered it. So, if we were on our way home and we had other individuals in the car, po' boy was always with them cousins or that clan, the Hitting clan, because they're a clan too. Okay, but on today we had, I think it was Lulu in the car with us, Lulu and another individual by the name of Tweed. Now, Tweed had got locked up for something, which for me was a little sad. I'm going to get into Tweed because he did take some light sparks. We're going to be getting into Tweed, okay, in a future message, because it was something about Tweed. Anyway, so where I'm going with this? Po' boy, shrimp po' boy. Okay, so I done already called my light sparks back from that spell that Sharita had me up in there doing. Okay, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and call my light sparks back. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks and soul fragments that got lost or that got caught up within the midst or that felt abandoned or that got abandoned during that ride home that night where I bookmarked that incident where you had po' boy in the car, you had Lulu in the car, and you had Tweed in the car, and I was in that back seat. I bookmarked it for a reason. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that, or that got lost within the midst of that, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay. moving right along, Shorty Ty, or Esmeralda, as we know her, um, stayed with drama, and it was the drama for me. It was the constant arguing and fussing and fighting, which continued to contribute to the PTSD that I already had from Daryl hammering her, from Daryl beating the blood up out of her. Okay. And every time I would say something about that to her, like, oh, all this, he fussing and fight, she would be like, so I cuss and fuss back. I'm fighting back. This lady did not get the point that it wasn't about you cussing and fussing back at him. It was about you not doing it at all. And him not doing it at all. Okay? Now let's go ahead and call back my light sparks from these incidents where she would buck up whenever I would say something about him. Talking about this ain't got nothing to do with him or yeah. Bitch, it do cause I brought it up. Okay? Every time she shot me down when I brought something up like that or said something like that. Any and all of my energy, light sparks. And so, for everyone that got caught up within the berating of Sharita whenever I would speak the truth, okay, are released, removed, freed, healed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Those instances where where it would frustrate me that she didn't understand what the fuck I was saying. Like, I don't give a fuck that you fussing back. Don't do it at all. Any of my light sparks that got caught up within that, I decree and declare them to be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Moving on. We are still on this fussing and this fighting and this bickering and po' boy not being shit. Okay, but a fuck boy. Right along with a shrimp po' boy. With that little meat between his mother. I don't get why Sharita was sprung up on him like that, because he wasn't that cute. That body was scrawny, no muscles at all. None. Just skinny, flab, acid on his back and his chest, everywhere. Okay? Let's not get into the STIs that popped up over the years as it pertains to shrimp po' boy. Okay, and Sharita stayed chasing him. And I'm telling you, this is an extreme case of chasing a man. That man stayed out all times of the night, did not come home to 3, 4 in the morning, and was cheating with that little meat, though. With the little meat that he had, he was cheating because he had some money. Okay? And also, all that crack he was selling, he wound up smoking it. Okay, down there hawking and hacking and coughing, baby. I remember those days. I used to be up in the house mocking them, playing. So let's get to the next incident. Now, this incident occurred. I'm telling you, this is an extreme case of chasing. This man has stayed out all night long. I forgot to mention the transsexuals that we all know. Po' boy, we all know. Nah. If that's who you are, stand up in your truth, bitch. But baby, not only have I heard the rumors, I was locked up with one who all that they could talk about was po' boy. Okay. Anyway, so this was an extreme case of chasing a man. This was a motherfucking collision course. This man had stayed out all night doing whatever the fuck he was doing, whoever, because he messed with the trans girls too and women. Okay, so ain't no telling what he was out there doing. Okay, and so we riding down the street, me and my ex siblings in this car. We was riding down the street, and we saw Po Boy coming the way we was going. All of a sudden, Sharita skirt that car like that. Started her when she saw him with us in that car like that. She forgot. It's like she forgot, but she didn't forget because the bitch was just hung up and strung up on dick and men. That she did not give a fuck that her churn was back there in that back seat while she was driving this car all wild. Chasing a man, too, at that. A no good ass man. Okay? So it got very dangerous. Now, we was getting prodded and propped here and there. All of a sudden, she caught up with him, and with us in that car, I gotta tell you this, with her cheering in that car and us in that back seat, she lunged forward at the car that he was driving and hit him with us in the car. Did not give a fuck that we was in that car just because she was caught up in whatever emotions that she was caught up in. All that unhealed trauma in her body, baby, it's a lot going on in there. It's a lot. Okay, I'm going to have to go ahead and call my energy and my light sparks back from this occurrence. Now that was dramatic. Okay. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up or they got lost or they got trapped or fearful in that moment when Sharita had the nerve to try to crash that car into the other car with her churn in the car over a man, be released, removed, freed, healed, and brought on back home to the motherfucking Trinity. Me! Okay? Now let's move on to the next incident. Okay, now this was for the sake of really Danielle. I felt a little bad for the little girl because Po Boy had went off and flipped out on Sharita like he did every night. Okay, now this night though, it kind of picked up. It kind of got a little. It may have gotten a little physical, but not really because Po Boy didn't really put his hands on her. He might have grabbed her hair up one or two times. Okay, but things got physical this night. Because there was also an altercation that occurred between Po Boy and Danielle. He hit her with a phone, so he like threw the phone at her and hit her with that phone. And to me, it was strange to see that relationship develop over the years after that had happened. I was like, so you gonna act just like you gonna just act like he didn't just hit you with that damn phone, that hard ass phone. You gonna pretend like that didn't happen and push that shit down in your body. See, that's the thing about these draconian individuals. That's what they do. That's all they do. They are a waste of space. Okay? All they do is they get trauma happens to them, and they act like it don't happen. They ignore it. They push it down into their body for it to crystallize and form into blockages. Okay? And instead of healing, they like to attach themselves to divine beings instead of doing their own work. Anyway, before I get too off track, I gotta come on light sparks for that because seeing that develop over the years, it was very weird to me, and I was very curious as to how that happened. Why would she just ignore the fact that this man just hit her with a phone and act like it didn't happen? I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of seeing that night, what happened with that phone, and Po Boy hitting Danielle with that phone, and Danielle acting like it didn't happen, and getting mad when I brought it up, and seeing that relationship, what was going on between that this mess be released, removed, freed, healed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Now, we got to talk about, let's take it back to my first time smoking marijuana. Okay, now marijuana is nothing wrong with marijuana, but I'm gonna say I do want my light sparks back from that the first time or the many times that I ever smoked with Po Boy, and the way he used that drug as a weapon to rile me up and get my emotions going and harvest that energy, just like Sharita used the pills in much the same way, you know. So let's go ahead. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks that got caught up within me waking up in the mornings and wanting to smoke, and poor boy having weed, and me not knowing whether he was going to pass that blunt or not, just the anxiety. Any of my light sparks and soul family that got caught up within that, some anxiety, with wondering whether he was going to be nice today or whether he was going to pass the blunt today, be released, removed, freed, healed, and brought back home to me. Okay? Now, this right here is the meat and the potatoes. We got to get into this. Now, by this time, I was about 18 or 19 years old when this occurred. So Pobo was already well situated into the dynamic of that clan or whatever. You know, this was an assignment for him. Okay, this was most definitely an assignment that he failed. Okay. Everything, we were already accustomed and familiar with each other. We already knew each other. Like, I was already the scapegoat. I was already, you know, that. And so again, here we go with Po Boy and Sharita accepting, because she didn't love herself, accepting any and everything that a man tell her, lies. This is also a lady who would, I got to call my energy back from that, because I could not stand the way she did that. When she would be, I guess she thought it was sexy, talking in that damn baby voice, that she would start to getting to talking to men in this baby voice. Why? I used to be like, why is she talking in this baby voice? Like, that shit is sexy. I gotta call my life project from that, because that was weird. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up, or that lost, or that they got so motherfucking annoyed that they left at Sharita talking in that damn baby voice like it was sexy, talking in that baby voice to men. And now that I think back at what she has done, now, it makes sense. It does. Okay. So let's move on. And again, this is the meat and the potatoes. We were living in the neighborhood of Riverbrook, in the city of Raleigh. We had just moved there. We probably had been there about 1 or 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We was already making our rounds because we was popular, the popular churn. We always wound up the popular churn until I started to isolate myself. So, you know, the folks was already starting to gather up over at the house. Morris was coming over to the house. T was on her. Darrell had his little friends coming over to the house. Baby, it was, you know. So, so like 2 weeks into us living in that neighborhood, I was quite shocked by what happened. Here we go. We got Po Boy, or Shrimp Po Boy, stayed out all night. You know, Sharita, that bitch will sell her soul for money. Okay, she and will. Okay, so she didn't give a fuck about how he acted or what he did, and the many women, which we're gonna be getting into mirror, and I'm gonna do that one next too, right after this one. Okay. So, yeah. What was that? Oh yeah. So he came home one night, very much so, pissy drunk. Okay. He had the nerve to walk inside of my room. Now he walked in my room. He didn't go to her room. He walked up in my room. Okay. He also began to pee in my crate. I had a little crate sitting on the floor. He started to pee on that crate, and I woke up like, what the fuck is going on? And I looked over. I looked over to the left. I looked over to the motherfucking left. but it was really the right. I looked over to the motherfucking right, and there he was, peeing in my crate. So I didn't get up. I acted like I was still asleep. This individual had the nerve to walk over to my bed and get up in my bed and get up under the covers and, grabbed me up, spooned me up in that instant. Baby, I gotta tell you, because I was disgusted. Let me tell you something about Sharita and her man. Like, I couldn't ever fuck behind Sharita. There was something about Sharita's energy. Something about the sexual energy of Sharita that once a man fucked her, or once somebody, it don't matter whether it's a man or a woman, once they fucked her, it's something about them. It's something about them that's very different. I wouldn't ever fuck behind Sharita. So just the fact that this had happened and her man was up in that room grabbing up on me like that, bitch, I got up with the quickness. I hopped up very, very quickly and went up in her room. I went to go knock on her door, and I told her to get her ass up and come get her man up out of my bed. Okay? See, women, a lot of women are very docile. Okay? And again, they believe whatever these men tell them. Or these lies. Now, she was so stupid and blind that she contributed what he did to him being drunk. Well, yes, he was drunk. I couldn't take that away from her. Yes, he was drunk, but how many times has he gotten drunk like this? The same way he drunk now and did this to another man, or it got in other men's bed. Bitch, you just as stupid. None the less, she was real mad at me after that, very angry. You know, she was already giving me evil eyes throughout life. So, but baby, the frequency at which them evil eyes, they picked up. Now let's go ahead and call our light sparks back, and we are finished with this. Oh no, we got one more. Okay. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that morning, that early morning when poor boy came up back to the house drunk like that, peeing in my crate, and then hopping up in my bed and grabbing me on up, baby. And I had to get up real quick because I was disgusted by him. Be released, removed, free, healed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. And again, I just cannot explain to you that that disgust that I just felt from him doing that. Okay, it was disgusting. Or not even just that. Just Sharita's men. They all disgust me, especially after that first. Girl, it be something about that it just be nasty. The energy is nasty after that. Okay. Now, let's talk about this last thing that occurred. We were in Riverbrook. We had been living in Riverbrook for a couple of years. By this time, there was something going on. Now, Po Boy stayed with attitude again. Now, this individual had the nerve. Now, to make a long story short, this individual had the nerve to come up in at the house and put his hands on me. Now, I could have whooped him. I really could have whooped him. Po Boy was weak and did not have any muscle mass. Okay? Now, a lot of the fears that I had early were very irrational fears that I really should not have had because I wouldn't, ooh, baby, okay? But I could have beat him. I could have. But because he was so weak and them hits didn't even hurt. But he had me up on them stairs on that day. I forgot what was going on between him and Sharita, but there was something going on, okay? And he decided to come put his hands on me. Let's go ahead and call our light sparks back. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that, the instance of him putting his hands on me on them damn steps that day, be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay. Now, is there anything else I want to say about Po Boy? That's it for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.